right? All right. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. And we actually welcome to class today. My name is Oluwasegun Aramide, and I would be taking us through today's class. Today is actually the day 3, and today we'll be talking about for and while loops. All right. So let's start. What is a loop? A loop is a sequence of statements which is specified once, but which may be carried out several times in succession. So in programming, there are some things in which we would want to do that would need a loop actually. Take for instance multiplication table. Okay. So if I'm to write a program that that finds the multiplication table 2, 3, 4, 5, irrespective. Now I can start saying 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 2, 8, 4 times 3, 12. But because this is actually like a repetition, you understand? So there's actually no reason why I should keep typing 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4. So I can actually use a loop to do that, okay? So for today's class, we actually be looking at 3 types of loop. We have the count controlled loops, we have the condition controlled loops, and we have the collection controlled loops, okay? So for count controlled loops, this is used for implementing the code inside the loop repeatedly a certain number of times, say n times. So take for instance, now this is actually the syntax. We have for I in range n, then do something. To see how this works, let us imagine a troubling kid who just offended the mom, for which the mom requested the child to declare, I will not do that again 10 times to be forgiven. Which, well, this is a count controlled loop in practice. So this is what we're actually this is what we're talking about. I'm importing time because I want to delay this by 0.5 seconds. So I have for I in range this, then print f plus 1. I will not do that again. Okay, so let me run this. So you see, we have I will not do that again. So we have it like this because the mom wants the child to write I will not do that again 10 times. But instead of writing a code that will print I will not do that again, I will not do that again, I will not do that again, then such query can actually we can actually use a loop for something like that. Do you understand? So before I proceed, let me quickly explain something. Okay, let me bring this here. Now here we use range. So let's see what, range is a function. I think we'll still get there though. Range is a function that we use as a counter. So let me say print range. Let me say range 8. That will see what this will give us. So this will give me 0 to 7. Coming? Oh no. Range 8. Coming? Okay, so let's take a look at, as we proceed, I would actually explain how the range function work? So let's look at example 2. Example 2, we have for I. Now, if you're talking about range 3 is 0, 1, 2. You understand? So it will give us 0, 1, 2. Range will definitely start from 0, and it will stop a figure before what you're actually specifying. So range 3 would stop, it is definitely starting from 0. So range 3 will have a set of numbers between, we'll have 0, we'll have 1, and we'll have 2. If you're talking about range 10, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You understand? So now for I in range, meaning, and in loop, loop, we actually have what we call like a counter. You understand? So for I, so if you're writing a loop, first of all, you need to understand the power of indentation. So let me do something like this. For I in, let me just use this to explain, in range 2, then print I. I will proceed. So let me run this. I'm definitely going to have, 0 and 1. If I'm saying if I'm declaring for I in range 4, I'll have 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I actually want to explain the power of indentation. Do you understand? So if you're declaring a loop, which is for I in range 4, then you have to indent what you want to be doing, what you want the loop to execute, because there's actually going to be a line of code under the for loop. So that is for every time okay, now for I in range 4, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So the system will first of all pick 0, which is the first one. So what I'm saying is the system should print the value of I. So the first value in range 4 is 0. So the system will print 0 and go back. The second value is 1. I'm saying for every value of I, the system should print I. So the second value is 1. The third value is 2. The fourth value is 3. So that's the reason why we have this. You understand? So let's take a look at example 2. For example 2, okay. Before I proceed, let me explain these two. Last week we did something on variable, right? And we explained that variable is actually used to store data. You understand? You assign something to a variable to actually store a data. So, and we have a function called input in Python. What input does is it will definitely, once you use the function input, it will ask the user, it will tell the user to actually input something the way it sounds. So take for instance, let me say name is equals to input. Then I'm saying, what is your name? What is your name? Okay. If I should run this, then the system would actually ask the user to input their name. So take for instance, my own name is Aramide, and that is it. So now Aramide is saved against name. You understand? So at any point in time, if I'm calling this name, because I've actually assigned whatever the user is inputting to be name. So anytime I'm actually calling this name, then would have Aramide. You understand? So because we actually be using the input function as we go on, So here we are saying, okay, for I in range 3. Now, range 3 is actually giving us 3 possible outcomes. We have 0, we have 1, and we have 2. 3 is not included, okay? We have 0 because it's actually starting from 0. The same way indexing in Python starts with 0. So we start with 0, 1, and 2. Now, I'm saying enter a number, okay? Then I'm saying print. So what this function is actually doing is, let me write it here. So every time you're actually writing a code and you're trying to explain or you're trying to add a comment, you use hash. You understand this? So let me say this program will square any number imputed. Okay. So now for high in range 3, meaning this program will run 3 times. And I'm saying, okay, for every time, ask the person the number, meaning input the number, then you're printing the square of the number is. So at every point in time in which you input the number, you know, the number will be saved against num. So I'm saying num times num, which is more or less like squaring it, right? So let's run. But take a look at this. You can see that num and print is indented. Do you understand? Meaning I'm actually indenting this line of code, meaning this is inside the for loop, while this is outside the for loop. So this will be looped, and once I'm done, it will print this. I would explain. Let me just run this and we'll see. So it is asking me to enter a number. Let me enter 2. Now, so I have the square of the number is 4. So let me enter 4. The square of the number is 16, right? And let me enter 5. The square of 5 is actually 25. Then the loop is done. So as I've said, let me explain indentation because we actually need to understand the way it works before, because it is very, very important when we are working with loop. So this is for I. You can actually use anything. Let me say for number in range, let me say 10. Okay. Immediately you're writing this loop, then you must end it with what? It's a colon, okay? And immediately you press enter, you see, it will definitely indent this. So anything you're writing here, so for every number in that loop, it will execute this and go back again and execute. But if you are not indenting, anything you write here, now the way this will work is after this for loop, after this loop has been executed, then the program, the computer itself or the interpreter will then execute this. But for every time the loop is running, the system will be executing everything inside the loop. And everything inside the loop is everything that falls under this for loop. But this doesn't fall under the for loop. So once this for loop is done, then the system will then come and execute this line, okay? So that is how indentation works. So let's assume we actually want to write a program that sums the first 50 numbers, okay? Find the sum of the first 50 numbers. Now I'm declaring my n to be 50, okay? And I'm declaring my sum to be 0. Now, you know, in mathematics, there's something we call additive inverse and multiplicative inverse. Additive inverse is 0. Anything you add to 0 will give you that thing, right? So, and anything you multiply with 1 will give you that number in which you're multiplying it with, all right? So if you want to be summing, okay, if you want to be adding up something, right, then you can actually declare the initial sum to be 0. because anything you add to 0 is definitely that number, meaning 0 doesn't affect addition, while 1 does not affect multiplication. So now let me explain this line of code now. I'm saying for I in range n plus 1. Now, because I want to find the sum of n numbers, so let me say 50. My n is 50, meaning I want to find the sum of first 50 numbers, okay? And because range will start from 0 and end in, what is it called, in 49, if I'm declaring range 50. And because I actually need, because I'm actually finding the sum of the first 50, right? I want 50 to be inclusive. So I'm extending the range by 1. And that's the reason I'm adding n plus 1. So if my n is 50, definitely this would automatically turn towards range 51. You understand? Now it depends on what I want to do. Understanding of what you want to do would actually affect the way you actually write in your code. You understand? Now, don't let's use 50. Let's use 5. So that would actually, we'll be able to add it up and know if our answer is correct, right? So if I'm adding the first 5 numbers, I have 0, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 1 plus 2, that's 3. 3 plus 3, 6. 6 plus 4, that's 10. 10 plus 5, that's 15. Meaning the first 5 numbers is actually meant to be 15, right? So I'm saying for integer, this can be anything. You're just using this to pick, because range n plus 1 will give you, if I'm saying, now my n is 6, so I'm saying range 6, right? So range 6 will give me a list of numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So what this integer will do is it will first of all pick 0, then it will go back again to pick 1, go back again to pick 2, go back again to pick 3, 4, 5, until the list is actually exhausted. You understand? So I'm saying for integer in this range, then sum is equals to sum plus 0. Sum is equals to sum plus integer. Now remember that I've actually initiated my sum to be 0. So the first time the for loop would run, the first integer is definitely going to be 0. So this will be what? Sum, the initial sum is 0, right? Plus 0, which is definitely going to be 0. So my first sum is 0, right? Then I would pick the integer, then turns to 1, right? Now this will now be 0 plus 1, which is 1. This will now be 1. By the time we're coming to pick 2, my sum is 1 initially now. You understand? Then my integer is now 2. Then the answer will be 3. Then to go back again and pick 4, 5, and so on. You understand? So let's actually do it like this. Okay. Now let me print this, and we'll play around this and we'll understand. Okay, you can see the sum of the first 5 numbers is what? 15. Okay, so let's see. Now the reason why, so let me do something. I would print okay, I will print the integer. Then I'll print sum. Coming up, sorry. Integer. Then I'll print sum. Okay, fine. So here, let me put sum, and let me put integer here. Integer. So now let me use this as well to explain the indentation in which I was actually explaining. Now you see I used 2 prints here, right? But this print is actually outside the for loop. Okay, so this would only initiate once the for loop is done. And that's the reason why this will print the sum, the last sum, like after it has summed the first 5 numbers, then the final answer will be printed here. But if you see, this print is actually indented, right? So for every time the loop is running, this will be printing the sum, and this will be printing the integer in which was picked. You understand? So let's see. Let me run this. Now, when the integer is 0, the sum is 0. When the integer is 1, the sum is 1. You understand? Now the integer is 2. You know, the last sum is what? 1. So 2 plus the last sum will give us 3. Now we have 3. Now it's going to pick 4. You understand? So when the integer is now 3, the sum will be 6. When the integer is 4, the sum will be 10. And when the integer is 5, the sum will be 15. Now here we're only printing the last because the print is outside the for loop. So that's the reason why we have this. You understand? But now me printing inside the for loop is this. So for every time we're having the sum, I will definitely be printing the answer. You understand? So the way you print or whatever you're doing is actually dependent on what you plan on achieving. Now you can print inside the for loop if that is what you want. And you can print outside the for loop if that is what you want, depending on what exactly you want to achieve. Okay, so let me comment this out. Anytime you put hash in front of your code, it turns to green, and that code will not be executed. It's definitely going to see it as a comment. Okay, so now let's actually go to this. So I'm actually declaring a class list which has Olu, Adamu, Ofu, and Ebi. Okay, so I'm now saying for I in range. Now I just want to number them. You understand? So I just want to know. So I'm saying for I in range 4. Now range 4 is actually giving me 0, 1, 2, 3. You understand? So I'm now printing. I'm saying I. You know, I is definitely, the first one is definitely going to be 0. I plus 1, we change this to 1. Then I'm saying, okay, then, you know, this is what? Class 0. Because if you're going back to what we did in the last class, the index here is 0. The index here is 1. The index here is 2. And the index here is 3. So we've discussed that the last class. So if I should print this code, then we have 1 Olu, 2 Adam, 3 4 AB. Okay. So now let's treat the range function itself. In range function, we have start, we have stop, and we have step. Now it is actually not compulsory you declare everything. Okay. It's actually not compulsory you declare everything, but it is actually compulsory for you to declare the start. So take for instance, if I'm saying for I in range 4, and I'm saying print I. Now, because I'm only declaring just one value in the range, it will just see it as what? To see it as a stop. Okay, to see it as the stop. So if I'm running this, I'll have 0, 1, 2, and 3. Do you understand? But if I want to declare, it is not. What if I actually don't need 0? What if I don't need 1? What if I want a loop, or I want to work with a loop that should start from 5? Okay, meaning I have a start and I have a stop. So let's assume I have okay, so let's assume I'm declaring something like this to 10. So what this is saying is I've actually declared the start, which is 4, and I've declared the stop, which is 10. But note, if you're declaring the stop, that's the end, range will stop a step before. So this is definitely going to be 4 to 9. It won't pick 10. Okay. Now, if I'm declaring the last one, which is the step, let's say my step is 2. Okay. Now, if my step is 2, this will take what? 4. Then it will neglect 5 and pick 6. Then it will neglect 6 and pick 7. Then it will neglect, no, I'm picking 4, 6, 8, and it will neglect 10. Do you understand? So that is how this works. That's 4, 6, and 8. But on a normal day, if you did not specify the start is by default 0. If you did not specify the step is by default 1. Okay? So if you are just specifying just a value inside the range, then it is seen as the stop. So the default start will be 0, while the default step will be 1. But if you want to play around with range, then you can declare your starts and your step, depending on what you want to achieve. Okay? So let's just play around this and let's do something. Let's write a program that prints let me see, multiplication table. So let's try and see multiplication table. Let's do multiplication table 5. Okay. So multiplication table 5. So now multiplication table on a normal day, the normal for primary school starts from 1, 5 times 1, 5, 5 times 2, up to 12, right? So if I want it to be, if I want 0 to 12, if I want 1 to 12, do you understand? Then I need to specify my start, which is 1, right? Then my end will be 13. Because if I'm specifying 12, I will have it up to 11. If I'm specifying 13, I'll have it up to 12, right? So now I would now say print. Okay, print. So print 2 times 2 times I is equals to 2 times I. Okay, so you see, oh no. Oh, this is meant to be high. This is meant to be high, then this is meant to be high. So you see, 2 times 1, 2, 2 times 2, 4, 2 times 3, 6, up to 24. So if I want this to be 100, I will just declare this to be 101, and we'll have it up to 100. Can just play around it, okay? So that is that. So print all even numbers, okay? Now, to print all even numbers between 2 even numbers. So I want to print all even numbers between 4 and 10. Okay. So now I'm declaring my n to be 4, and I'm declaring my m should be 10. Okay. So I'm saying for I in range, now my start is 4 because n is 4, and my end is 10. Then I'm stepping it by 2. You understand? Now this would work because I know if I'm starting, if my starting point is an even number, then all I need to do is, if I'm stepping it by 2, then I'm definitely picking all even numbers. So what I want to do here now is just to add the sum of all even numbers between 4 and 10. So let's run this. Okay. So the even numbers are what? 4, 6, and 8, right? And the sum is definitely 18. Do you understand? So now we have Fibonacci. Okay. The way Fibonacci work is let's see. Fibonacci is, it will add, when you pick numbers, say A and B. Okay, you can actually read more of Fibonacci numbers. But when you pick number, then it will add the first 2 to get the next one. It will add the number before to get the next one. So let's assume I want to get the first 6 Fibonacci numbers now. You can see it will add this and this to get this. It will add this and this to get this. It will add this and this to get this. It will add this and this to get this. So that is how Fibonacci work. Okay. And for Pascal triangle too. So this is definitely going to give us Pascal triangle. Okay. Read more on Pascal triangle because it's actually beyond the scope of this. This is just a using for to actually get Pascal triangle. So we are done with count control. Count control in the sense that I'm actually declaring it in range, and range has a specific upper and lower bound. So it is actually count controlled. Do you understand? So let's go to the next loop, which is what? Condition controlled. Now, condition controlled is we using while loop. Okay. Now, take for instance for 4, you're actually specifying the start and the end. And even if you're not specifying the end, if you're not specifying the start, you're actually specifying the end, right? But for while loop, you are throwing it open, okay? But it is conditioned. Now, take for instance, see this. I'm saying num to be equals to 0. Now, I'm not declaring while. The way it sounds like while this number is less than 15, then print the number. Okay. Then by the time you print the number, then add 1 to the number, meaning the number would then increase and increase. So now what the way this will work is while my first number is actually 0, right? So I'm saying while number is less. So this loop will run in as much as the number is less than 15. At the point where the number is equal to or greater than 15, the while loop will stop, meaning it is conditioned. You understand? So I'm printing num. So 0, it will print 0. Then my number would now be number plus 1. So it will turn to 1. It will print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 14. So by the time I'm having 14 and I'm adding 1 to it, which is 15, it will come back, does not satisfy this y, so the loop would stop. Okay. So let's print it and see. Now you can see 0, 1 up to 14. Because I specified it that while it is actually what? Less than 15. Okay. So let's see this as well. I'm declaring num to be 0, and I have items. This is actually a list. I have shoe, I have dress, I have purse, and I have book inside the list item. Okay. So I'm saying while number is less than, now this length is actually going to give me what? The length of this. The length of this item, because I'm saying length items. And here I have 4. So this is just saying while number is less than 4, then print the number and also print. So the way this will work is, I'm saying while number is less than 4, meaning 0, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So I will print the number, which is 0. Then I will now use that 0 to go and what? To go and index this list. If I'm saying, okay, hold on. So that we'll understand. Meaning I have items as this, right? So if we did this last week, so this is just like a recap. If I say in items 0 is definitely going to give me shoe. If I say item 4, items 4, I will have 0, 1, 2, 3. If I say item 3, I will have book, because that's actually the maximum. If I say 4, it's definitely going to give me an error that is out of range, because there is no item 4. You can see list item out of range. Okay, so that is actually what I'm trying to do here. So I'm printing the number, then I'm using that number to what? To index it. So this is a shoe, dress, purse, and book. Okay. So we have infinity loop. So infinity loop is, it will keep running. Meaning, now let me see. Let's see an example that seems like a useful program. Write a program that accepts temperature in Celsius and convert it to Fahrenheit. So this will what? It will accept your temperature in Celsius and what? And convert it to Fahrenheit. So this is actually what? This is the formula, okay? But this program will not stop because it is, I'm saying why it is true. If I see, okay, enter your temperature, if I input 7 to convert it to Fahrenheit, see, that's converted into, that's 7 Celsius, 7 degrees Celsius is the same thing as 44.6 Fahrenheit. If I put 37, so it will keep asking. It will keep asking because I used while true. Do you understand? I actually did not specify a condition to end this. So this is like an infinite loop. It will keep running. It will keep running. It will keep running, and such a program can actually hang, or it depends on what you want to do. But most times you should always put, there should always be a condition to end whatever loop, because your program will keep running to infinity. You understand? So infinite loop is a problem because it can produce undesired results when misused. It simply means your loop will run forever. Let's find a way to end it below. To stop the loop, enter E. So I'm saying this is an infinite loop, although it will break once I put any character apart from the integer. So while true, enter the temperature. If, so now this is, would definitely do, would dwell more on the, what is it called, if statement tomorrow. But I'm only imputing, now this is not this is a condition, that if whatever you're imputing is not a digit, then break. But you understand if better tomorrow, okay? So that is actually what we would look into tomorrow. So enter the temperature. Let me enter 37. Then it will ask me again, okay? And it is asking me, enter the temperature. So let me say 7 to convert. But at any point in time, if I should enter age or anything, then it will stop. It won't ask me again. You understand? Because that is how I've actually done it in such a way that once you input anything apart from digits, then it should break. Okay. So that is while loop keep running until a condition is met to break it. Then we have collection controlled. Collection controlled, this is used to implicitly loop through all elements in an array, a set, or a collection. Okay, so let's, for item in shopping cart, do this. So it's collection controlled in the sense that I'm declaring a list item. Okay, so it is not while, it is not for. It is not a range. A range is like, okay, I have a range between this and this, but this is collection control, meaning I'm actually declaring a list. And I'm saying for every item in this can be anything, please. I can even use I. Okay, then I'll just come here and say I. But most times it is always good to use a variable that you don't actually need to. You don't need to explain yourself. By just mere reading through your code, then the person reading it should have an understanding of what you're doing. Okay, so you see, this is a loop. So I'm printing item, then to go again and pick dress, to go again and pick purse, and to go again and pick book. Okay. So what if we have two lists? What we want to loop through together, meaning I have, now I have item. So let's assume I have two lists, which is the quantity list. Sorry. So let's assume I have a quantity list now. So I want to pick every element, every item in the cart, and I want to as well print the quantity. Okay. So I'm declaring another list quantities, which is 2, 1, 3, 4. So in order for me to merge this quantity and item together, in Python, we use zip. Okay. So I'm actually zipping this item and quantities together. But if you want to use zip, okay, then the number, meaning the dimension, the length of what you're zipping must be the same thing. So this will work because I have 4 elements in items and I actually must have 4 elements in quantities. At any point in time where this is 5 and this is 4, zip will throw up an error. You understand? So I've zipped item and quantity, and I'm picking item, quantity in this zip. So the way zip works is it is actually going to create a tuple. Don't worry, we'll do that as well as we go on through the class. So it will create a tuple with this. Then I'm now picking item and quantity from this tuple. Okay. So I'm saying shoe, we have 2, dress, we have 1, purse, we have 3, and book, we have this. Okay. So let's create another scenario. Now, let us assume we have 2 groups of people who we want to know in how many ways can we match 2 people to form alternative groups. Okay, so we have 2 groups. We have group 1, which is Nana, Lyra, Simi, and Obong. And we have another group, which is Edidiong, Musa, and Namaka. You understand? So I want to know in how many ways can I mix these guys. You understand? So let's take a look at it. I can tell Nana to match with this. I can tell Nana to match with Musa. I can tell Nana to match with Amaka. That's 3 ways, right? Then I can tell Lara to match with Edindiong. I can tell Lara to match with Musa. I can tell Lara to match with Amaka. So that was 6 already, right? Then I can tell Simi. But now, how can I actually do this using for loop? Okay. So this is more or less like a nested for. Nested for in the sense that I have another 4 inside a for loop. So let me explain. Now my counter is 1. Okay. So I'm saying for G, this can be anything, please. So for G in group, so this G will take the value of Nana, Lara, Simi, and Obong, right? And G2 will take the value of this, and this, right? So I'm now saying for G1 in group 1, then I'm indenting it. The reason why I'm indenting it is once this for loop picks the first value, then everything under this will run before it will come back to pick the second one. Then everything under the for loop will run and it will come back and pick the 4th person. It's just me matching. You understand? So now by the time it picks G1, that is the first, that's Nana. Then it will come and pick Edidiong and match them. So it will match Nana to this, and this, then pick this and match to this and this and this, pick this. So I'm now counting. So be increasing it by 1, by 1, by 1 for me to know the number of ways in which I can actually match this group. So these are the matches. Nana and this, Nana and Musa. Now I have 12 matches. Okay. Now looping through a nested list. I've actually explained. So nested in the sense that it is indented a 4 inside another 4. You understand? So because of time, I would actually be sharing this notebook. So I'm saying I'm declaring all groups. I'm declaring 2 lists. That's group 1 and group 2 inside this. And I'm actually picking the elements in each list and I'm actually printing them out. Okay. So that is actually for loop. So in for loop, it is actually important for us to know in any program, let's actually know what we want to do, because it is understanding of the problem that will determine how you actually want to write the code. Okay, make sure that your variables speaks to what you want to do. Now, I should not just declare, mere looking at the variable that you're declaring, I should have an idea of what you want to do. I should write your program in such a way that I don't need to call you to explain. So those are some of the etiquettes, you understand? And understand the index, indenting, okay? Play with it and you will definitely be fine, okay? So that is it. So for today, we treated 3 types of loop, okay? We have the count controlled. Count controlled has to do with range, and I explained how to use range. Range, if you are declaring just one value, that is definitely the end, and it will take a default start of 0 and it'll take a default step of 1. But if you want to specify your starts and your step, you can do that as well. For condition controlled, that is when you use while loop, okay? And it is advisable, although I use for most times, but there are programs in which you want to write that you use while. It is advisable that you put a condition to actually end the while so that your program would not continue running. You understand? And we have collection controlled. Collection controlled in the sense that you might actually declare a list and you're picking from the list. Okay, that is loop. And the reason why we use loop in general is if you want the system to keep doing the same thing. Take, for instance, the multiplication table code that we did. Why should I be writing 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 2, 8, 4 times 3, 12, when I know that, okay, I can actually do it with a loop? I will just write the code once and the system will keep iterating. So loop is more like an iteration, so to say. You understand? So we'll see tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll actually be talking about the if condition. And after tomorrow, we'll definitely be having our first assignment. So I would share the link to this video and also the notebook so that we'll play around it and we'll get familiar with it. And if you have any question, you can actually drop it in the classroom, or once I'm done posting this video, you can actually drop it in the comment or the chat section. Your question would actually be attended to. So thanks for coming for today's class. We'll see you tomorrow by 4 p.m.